Welcome to the You're Not Crazy podcast, hosted by Jessica Knight, a certified life coach who specializes in healing from narcissistic and emotional abuse. This podcast is intended to help you identify manipulative and abusive behavior, set boundaries with yourself and others, and heal the relationship with yourself so you can learn to love in a healthy way. You can connect with Jessica and find additional resources, content, and coaching at emotionalabusecoach.com.
Hello, and thank you for being here. Before we dive in, I want to go through the fine print and share how we can work together. Because healing from this kind of pain takes a lot more than time. It takes the right kind of support. I work with people entangling themselves from emotionally abusive relationships, coercive control, trauma bonds, high conflict co-parenting dynamics, high conflict divorce, and if you're at the beginning of the road and wondering what divorce would look like. I offer one-on-one coaching at every stage. If you're still in the relationship, if you're unsure if it's abuse, if you know it's abuse but you're having trouble understanding what that looks like, or what to do with it, I can help you name what's happening, start setting boundaries that work for you, and figure out what you need. If you're thinking about leaving, we'll explore what that might look like in a grounded and personalized way. If you're navigating divorce or custody or co-parenting with a high conflict person, I can help you document, strategize, and stay emotionally anchored, especially when you're being gaslit, discredited, and re-traumatized by the legal system. If you've already left and you're stuck in the trauma bond, or if you've been discarded and struggling to feel like yourself again, I can help you rebuild self-trust and reconnect with your own nervous system in a way that actually feels doable. Everything I do is highly personalized. I don't walk you through a one-size-fits-all program. I listen, I reflect, and I guide you based on what you're facing right now. And some people work with me through a one-time validation call, which is offered on my website, where we zero in on one issue you're struggling with and start to untangle it together. Others work with me on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, depending on what's going on in your specific situation. And this is especially helpful when healing from emotional abuse and also in divorce. If you're curious about starting, I offer a $25 intro call, which if you listen to my older episodes, I call it a clarity call. It did used to be free, and I talk about it at a later episode, but really a lot of people were no-showing to those calls, and that was taking away time from clients that I do work one-on-one with. And so if we move forward, I just take that fee and apply it to your first session. That intro call is just for us to get on the same page so you can share what's going on for you and I can share how I might be able to help. I only take a limited number of those calls per month because one-on-one coaching is the core of my work. Out of all these offerings that I have, one-on-one coaching is the thing that I do the most, and I do it 6 days a week most of the time, 5 to 6 days a week. And so if my calendar looks full and if there's not a time that you can get in, you can email me at jessica@jessicaknightcoaching.com, and I always try and make space where I can. And I may also always have a few openings from one-on-one client reschedules. You can also explore self-paced courses and toolkits at jessicaknight.thinkific.com, including Divorcing a Narcissist 101 and the Emotional Abuse Breakthrough course. I have a documentation course and my new signature program, Unhooked, which is a private podcast and course that walks you through the full cycle of abuse, helps you map it in your relationship and how to break it and how to begin to see what it really is that you're going through. If you want ongoing support in a more flexible way, you could always check out my Substack at jessicaknight.substack.com. Each month I focus on a different theme, from trauma bonding to divorce to cluster B to sexual coercion to emotional abuse to toxic breakups. Those are just some from this year. Paid members get access to monthly deep dives, master classes, Q&As, strategy kits, and I'm working on some more group options. There is also a free option and a monthly option. So please head over to Substack. The link is in my show notes. You also can just search Jessica Knight Coaching and I'll come up. Everything that I create is meant to help. My coaching, my writing, my courses, this podcast, it's built around the one truth that you're not crazy. You are conditioned to doubt your reality, and I want to help you change that and understand what you're going through. If you like this podcast, the best thing that you can do is subscribe and rate the episode 5 stars. You can find me on my websites, emotionalabusecoach.com and high-conflict divorcecoaching.com. All of the offerings that I just mentioned are also in the show notes below. Now let's get to the episode. In this episode, we're talking about something that keeps so many survivors stuck. The nice version, quote unquote, of the person who's harming you. And this is the part of them that shows up with warmth or calm or just enough kindness or just even actually not being abusive for a moment that make you doubt what you've seen and start hoping again. And it's one of the most confusing parts of the cycle, because if they can be kind, does that mean that they're actually changing? And that's something that we wonder a lot. Does it mean that the cruelty isn't the whole story? And so a lot of times what I see is that people will be beginning to set boundaries. Maybe it's been escalating for a while, or they have made a decision to leave and all of a sudden the other person starts acting different. They might start acting nice. They might begin to change some of their behaviors or not react to some of the things they previously reacted to. And then you start to think, am I crazy? Or, is there actually a change? And so today I want to talk about that, because the truth is that most people fall into this. And I think that the nice version isn't separate from abuse. It's part of the cycle of abuse. It's how the cycle keeps going. And today I want to break down how kindness is used as a tactic and why it feels so powerful, and how you end up staying for the version of the person that was never meant to last. And so if you feel confused about the back and forth, I do think that this is going to be validating for you. I've been working on a private podcast series called Unhooked, which helps you map out your personal cycle of abuse and to be able to see the cycle happening in your relationship. And as I was gathering data for this and to make it shaped towards what people need the most, I posted a question on Threads that said, is the nice version of them part of the abuse cycle or proof that they can change? And that question opened up a lot of responses, and words like roller coaster, bait, mask, light on the anglerfish showed up again and again. And every one of them pointed to the truth, which is that the nice version is not a sign of healing. It's actually a calculated reset. It can be a trap. It needs longevity in order for that to be a true change. And it's not proof that the cycle of abuse is broken. It's proof that it's resetting. And it tends to be carefully timed and feels like a performance. It arrives right when you're pulling away, questioning the dynamic, or beginning to reclaim yourself. It's not here to repair. It's here to disarm you. And it falls into the category of textbook coercive control, because it's driven by this idea of intermittent reinforcement, which is the same thing that keeps a trauma bond going. The up and down roller coaster that you never know when you're going to get kindness or you're going to get abuse is what keeps people emotionally hooked. And it's not random. It's patterned, and it's effective. Because in intermittent reinforcement, the unpredictability causes confusion, anxiety, and addiction. And it's the same mechanism that keeps people glued to slot machines. And it's the mechanism of the trauma bond. So the nice version really means that it looks like safety, but it's not separate from the abuse. It's part of it. It resets the emotional pressure. It might bring tension down. It reinforces hope and says maybe this time is different, but it's usually never different because it's not meant to be. And a lot of my clients have said things
like the nice part that keeps people in the relationship thinking that they might change or that it's not that bad. It's just part of the abuse cycle. And so I want to list some signs that if you are seeing the nice version, that you can see it as part of the cycle and not a sign of change. And if you are seeing it as like a sign of change, really look at the longevity. And if the pattern is building on itself, you don't want to settle for the breadcrumbs. You don't want to settle for, oh, well, they were nice on Monday. You want to see a consistent change in the pattern of behavior. But here are some signs that it's not a sign of change. Kindness shows up after conflict, but not taking accountability. There's more affection or compliments when you're pulling away. They behave kindly in public, but cruel in private. Apologies don't actually lead to change. It just leads to resetting of the cycle. Their tone shifts based on your compliance, not on connection. And they stop harming only when they're at risk of losing you. And then usually comes in a lot of promises and love bombing. And if you're noticing this, just remind yourself, people don't stay because of cruelty. They stay because of the relief that follows it. And they stay for that nice version. So it feels like the bait that makes them believe things could get better. And when someone flips between cruelty and kindness, it's not them being dysregulated, it's abuse. It causes you to say things like, if I just loved them better, if I just loved them more, if I was just patient, this wouldn't happen. Real change in the context of emotional abuse and coercive control isn't just a feeling. It's not a nice text or a calm tone or even just an apology. It's structural. It's sustained. It's measurable. There's not like, 2 good weeks followed by a sudden emotional withdrawal. The change is real and the chaos ends. Real change also includes accountability. They may name what they did without minimizing it, blaming you, or expecting immediate forgiveness. They stop spinning the story. They don't say, I was just trying to help, or you're too sensitive. They say, I hurt you, I crossed the line, and I won't do that again. And they mean it. And real change is internal. It's not based on their outer image. They don't suddenly start treating you better because you pulled away or exposed them. They don't change when they're at risk of losing you. They change because they are so uncomfortable and upset with who they've been, not because of the fear of consequences. And real change, honestly, it takes time. Someone who truly wants to change doesn't demand proximity while they do it. They don't push for reconciliation before they've done work. They respect your no and they let you heal too. And a lot of times this has to involve outside support of some kind, because they are going to be working on change they're thinking. And real change can really be felt, not just heard. You don't have to analyze every word or decode the mixed messages. You're not constantly in survival mode. Your nervous system would begin to relax, not brace for impact. It would build the safety. And if you're unsure what you're seeing, or if it's just another manipulation cycle, ask yourself, is this actually different or just calmer for now? Do their actions align with their words, even when it's inconvenient for them? Do I feel more like myself or more like a version of me that had to shrink? Just answer those honestly. A lot of people will believe if I just love them better, if I stay patient, if I don't provoke them, maybe the good version will come back. But that is putting way too much emotional labor on you in a relationship that's supposed to have 2 adults. That's supposed to be 2-sided, where that person takes responsibility for themselves. I hope that this episode was helpful. And if it was, I really invite you to go look at my new private podcast, Unhooked, Mapping Out Your Cycle of Abuse, because the truth is that if you're wondering where this exists in your relationship, that course is going to be the one that will help you map it out. And I truly believe the more that you see it, the less you can be manipulated, because you're seeing it for yourself. You're seeing the real data for yourself. The link to that series is in my bio. Just click on Unhooked. It's also in the show notes below. If you need any support, if you need or want private coaching, you can always reach out to me, and you can find all of my offerings at emotionalabusecoach.com.